Hello, my name is Peter Rice, and thanks for joining us here on News Channel Nebraska. Let's take a look at some of your top stories. The Cornhusker State Games is looking to broaden its horizons, so they're escaping from the shadows of the state capitol. They're bringing the torch to stops across the state, and the first location was Grand Island. It's the first ever torch tour, with stops happening in North Platte, plus Columbus, Fremont, and Omaha. All part of the Nebraska Sports Council's attempt to expand the games and incorporate more communities and people from all corners. The opening night celebration is still weeks away, and already the excitement is brewing in Grand Island.
The people that you know and the connections that you make, you form a relationship, and sometimes that relationship takes a while, but when it hits, and we are so excited because we think that it's going to be a boom for our city and for our town and for even the local people to see what's out here at the shooting park.
It's extra special for Grand Island. This year, the games will be coming to GI for some of the competition. Shooting events will be held at the Heartland Shooting Park for the first time in the long history of the Cornhusker State Games. Grand Island couldn't be more excited to show off the hidden jewel on the western outskirts of the city.
Getting the Nebraska State Games to come to this shooting park, which is truly a world-class shooting facility, we believe will be staggeringly beneficial to Grand Island, staggeringly beneficial to the park itself, and for the shooters and the participants, they're going to have a wonderful event because we've got all of this activity going on, and we can really ramp it up when you've got all of the shooters in one location and they can all participate and see how others are doing and watch what others are doing too.
The opening ceremonies will be held July 10th at the Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. Children in a central Nebraska town now have another way to beat the heat during the summer months after the opening of a new splash pad. The Rochelle Lee Morris Splash Pad is now ready for the public following a grand opening and ribbon-cutting event Wednesday evening. The new outdoor aquatic entertainment is located outside the Kearney Family YMCA and will serve the entire Kearney community thanks to a partnership with the city. The splash pad was made possible through a donation from the Scott Morris family honoring Rochelle.
When we talked about the splash pad, it just hit a spark for Rochelle. She knew it was something that impacted the kids of the YMCA, the neighborhood, and in our community.
Scott Morris donated a downtown building in the late 80s to give the Kearney YMCA its first physical location. Now, Morris is donating to the nonprofit once again because of his late wife's love for children and physical activity. The new splash pad is now ready to host an endless stream of little ones this summer and beyond. Central Nebraska elementary students experienced a new twist on a classic tradition with their annual field day being moved last minute to a recently opened sports facility. Buffalo Hills Elementary School on Wednesday hosted its annual field day at the Kearney Sportsplex, a $46 million state-of-the-art facility that opened last month. School officials said that they changed locations after hearing positive feedback from Windy Hills Elementary, who on Monday held its field day at the Sportsplex. Students and parents enjoyed the escape from the elements.
So far, so good. Talking to the students, they're having a lot of fun and having a good time. No wind is nice, not having to worry about the elements outside. No sunscreen, water bottles, all the things that you have to carry.
Officials added that they are enjoying the partnership with the city and are already looking at the Sportsplex for future school activities and events. Nebraska's unemployment rate remains well below the national average, ranking in the top 10 nationally. Of the more than 1,080,000 people part of the labor force in Nebraska, a little more than 32,000 are without a job at this time. It's a rate of 3%, with the national rate at 4.2, according to the Nebraska Department of Labor. It's the sixth lowest number in the U.S. South Dakota tops the charts at 1.8%, with North Dakota in second at 2.6%. Boone, Cherry, and Cumming counties are the lowest for the state, clocking in at just 2%. The highest rate is for residents in Hooker County at 5.7%, with McPherson ranking second at 5.3%. They are the only two above 5%. Nebraska residents are gaining more internet options in the coming years. AT&T has agreed to buy most of Lumen's fiber internet business for nearly $6 million. A deal between AT&T and Lumen, who operates as CenturyLink and Quantum Fiber in 11 states, affects the Omaha area. The agreement is still pending approval, but it would give a wider selection of choices to Nebraska residents. Earlier this month, the Trump administration canceled a bipartisan plan that would have provided $6.5 million to expand access to internet across the state of Nebraska. With that funding now in limbo, state organizations are working to identify alternatives as they continue outreach initiatives across the state. Tim Hackett has more from Fairbury.
Representatives from the Southeast Nebraska Development District dropped by a daily senior citizen lunch at the Fairbury Community Building Wednesday to educate a group of a dozen locals about the benefits of broadband and showcase how access to reliable internet can help improve their lives.
Well, it does us no good to invest in broadband infrastructure if nobody's ready to use it. And that's really kind of the thrust behind why we're talking in our communities, why we're working with our partner organizations like Blue Rivers to help them support the individuals that they serve so they're comfortable online, so they're able to navigate safely and really turn it into something that improves quality of life.
Programs like the statewide BEAD initiative are designed to reinforce internet infrastructure, helping increase the availability of reliable internet throughout the state, including here in Jefferson County. That program is moving ahead as scheduled, but a complementary initiative, the Digital Equity Act, had its plug pulled earlier this month by the federal government. Established in a 2021 bipartisan act, that program provided Nebraska with $6.5 million to increase internet availability and navigational skills, as well as access to improved services like telehealth, all of which is in jeopardy if that federal funding is eliminated.
So the White House and the Department of Commerce officially rescinded that award, not just to Nebraska, but to all states and territories. So right now we're kind of in limbo, looking for some additional funding opportunities to really do some of this important, meaningful work to make sure that people are ready to use the internet.
Send says funding for BEAD and other infrastructure operations comes from different channels. And as of now, that program's objective of maximizing internet accessibility by 2029 is still in sight. In Fairbury, Tim Hackett, News Channel, Nebraska.
Millions of Americans are expected to travel 50 miles or more for Memorial Day weekend. The majority of travelers will be driving to their destination, and that means a lot of traffic. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at what drivers can expect on the roads and what passengers can expect in the skies.
Memorial Day is the unofficial start to summer. It also means the start of a busy travel season. AAA estimates more than 45 million people will travel between Thursday and Monday. That's almost 1.5 million more travelers than last year and would be a new record for Memorial Day travel. Roughly 39 million people are expected to hit the roads.
87% of the people who are traveling over Memorial Day are expected to drive.
AAA says the worst times to drive are Thursday between 1 and 9 p.m. and Friday between noon and 8 p.m. And the worst time to return home on Memorial Day is between 4 and 7 p.m.
You want to leave as little to chance as possible because there are so many things you can't control when you're on the road. Other drivers, construction, the weather.
There is good news for drivers.
The price of crude oil has come down significantly.
According to GasBuddy.com, the national average price for a regular gallon of gas as of Wednesday was $3.16, well below last year's Memorial Day prices of $3.62. The skies will be just as busy, with more than 3.6 million people expected to fly over Memorial Day, and ticket prices are down.
The most affordable times to fly are right now at the very beginning of summer before mid-June.
Expedia travel expert Melanie Fish says travelers can score some last-minute Memorial Day deals right now.
If you want to hop on a plane this week to go to Spain or London from New York, you can get there for under $700.
And whether you're flying or driving, experts recommend giving yourself plenty of time to get to your destination safely. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Americans will drive into summer with the lowest Memorial Day gas prices since the holiday weekend back in 2021. Those lower gas prices came with good news and some anxious news about the overall economy. Karen Kafa has the story from Washington.
Americans feeling the pinch of inflation and tariffs elsewhere can expect relief at the gas pumps this holiday weekend.
It's going to be the cheapest Memorial Day since 2021. But if you adjust for inflation and rising wages, Americans are actually going to spend the least amount filling up this Memorial Day since 2003, excluding COVID.
Gas prices dropping alongside U.S. oil prices, which have fallen about 20% since mid-January.
Typically, this is the time of year when we would see higher gas prices because the summer driving season is going to increase demand, but we're still paying less because of those lower crude oil prices.
Fuel tracker Gas Buddy forecasts the national average price of a gallon of gas on Memorial Day will be $3.08, 50 cents lower than last Memorial Day. But with that drop, a mixed economic picture, says Gas Buddy's head of petroleum analysis, Patrick DeHaan.
As goes the economy, as go gas prices. Right now, with the threat of tariffs and economic uncertainty, oil prices have faltered a bit based on the fact that a slowdown in the U.S. economy would also mean a slowdown in consumption.
Low gas prices typically boost the mood of a consumer, and summer driving typically drives up demand. But DeHaan says recent dips in consumer confidence could slow things down.
Some economic jitters and pessimism may be impacting American consumers. So some of those economic jitters and some companies making layoffs could be impacting the psyche of many American travelers this summer.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Norfolk is on the map. The Nebraska Passport, a beloved guide for locals and tourists alike, has added 2 downtown Norfolk stores to its list this year, shining a spotlight on the city's unique charm and offerings. Reporter Hanky Hazelton has the story.
A travel program designed to encourage exploration of Nebraska's finest attractions, the Nebraska Passport allows participants to collect stamps by visiting locations throughout the state, with Norfolk being the home of 2 destinations, highlighting a delicious eatery and a family-owned business ran by a mother and daughter duo.
We mostly consider it the hidden gem of Northeast Nebraska. We consign upon clothing, decor, shoes, accessories, purses, and then we also make our own homemade food. So we serve soup, sandwiches, and ice cream, all homemade right here. A lot of it are recipes from my family growing up, and we definitely are a little bit of everything. That is our store motto, so you can find a lot in one place.
After a long day of shopping, games, gadgets, and clothes, we're off to get a bite to eat at our last Nebraska Passport stop. Now, here at Norfolk, we talk with the owner to see why this place is such a hit and so many guests to come and eat.
What makes us unique is we're making our own house-made Italian sausage. Our milk, for example, comes from Hartington. Coffee comes from Omaha.
To give customers a big city approach with their menu that might be hard to find in small towns and a little unusual than the rest, Norfolk requires all their food to be handmade, starting with the bread.
All of that is cut, shaped, and weighed and rolled all by hand, every individual pizza dough. Our oven, wood and gas-fired, requires a human to be standing there working the oven because our pizzas cook so fast, they cook in about 2 minutes.
Both stores, grateful for the opportunity to see new customers visit their town, also hope guests feel the exposure of feeling welcomed.
You know, for me, it's all about the experience. That starts at the front door, being greeted and being sat. Hopefully, they have a hospitality experience that bleeds over into their experience in the rest of the city.
The biggest thing is make sure everyone feels safe and welcome. That is not always the case anywhere. So we want to make sure that when you left, you were happy.
Reporting in Norfolk, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X in order to stay up to date on all your news, sports, and weather needs. Thanks again for watching News Channel Nebraska.